It helps us understand just how horrific daily life for many Syrian civilians has become. The accounts of sniper attacks on women and kids resonated very strongly with many of you. So today, I wanted to follow up and speak directly to the volunteer doctor who shared the story with CNN's Atika Schubert. First, a brief reminder of what this doctor witnessed. And we do warn you, once again, the images are disturbing. They won't be suitable for all viewers.
It is a chilling image of just how horrific the Syrian civil war has become. A sniper's bullet in the skull of an unborn fetus. The pregnant mother was the victim of a sniper attack. British surgeon Dr. David Knott volunteered at several hospitals in northern Syria with the charity Syria Relief.
You actually see the bullet hole here going from one side of the uterus to the other side, and the baby was caught in the middle.
These images are graphic, but they are all survivors. Dr. Knott says 90% of the surgeries he performed on any given day were sniper wounds, up to 20 gunshot wounds a day. Syria Relief provided CNN with these pictures of sniper victims in order to raise awareness of the growing violence. Dr. Knott says he believes snipers are specifically targeting pregnant women and sometimes children in a vicious game of war.
Well, Dr. David Knott joins me now here in the studio. I've got Nick Pate-Morsh with me as well this evening. I want to start, though, with you, David. I mean, that was some pretty horrific scenes that we were witnessing through your eyes to a certain extent. Just describe what you found on the ground in the past 6 weeks when you were there.
Well, every day we would receive between 12 to 14 sniper wounds a day. Of those, the majority were civilians, majority were women and children that were shot. And these were people that were just going along their routine daily work, just going to get bread and provisions. And most of them were going from one side of the city to the other side of the city. And I was told that there's around 10,000 people per day go from one side to the other side. And of that side, you know, a small proportion of them are shot with...
This is daily life for regular civilians.
This is daily life, yes.
The reports didn't point out who these snipers were. I mean, it's chaotic on the ground. Was it unclear?
Well, you know, you work in a hospital. I was on the rebel side, so you work in the hospital and you receive the casualties, and all the casualties are all civilians. And so, you know, I think one tries to remain apolitical and completely neutral, but you can't help hearing who is shooting who. And you know, you try and remain neutral, but the word on the street was that it was coming from the government side.
Government side. You're back. You've been back for 10 days. When you reflect on what you saw, what you witnessed, how do you feel?
Well, I feel terrible, to be honest with you. I mean, it's taken me... Only now do I start to feel worse, really. I've been back to work 10 days now, and I'm in the operating theatre, and it's a different world completely to what I've just been through. And it's actually, I'm not getting flashbacks, but you do tend to really think at the moment, every morning I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning thinking about it, thinking about the horrendous things that I've seen. The
video was difficult enough to watch. If you can just take us through some of what you did see, because I think it's important that people realise just what is going on. We talk a lot about what's going on, but we very rarely get access to what's going on. Well,
you know, as a doctor, you're there to try and help anybody that comes in. You're offering humanitarian help to the wounded people, whether if they're fighters, if they are civilians.
Sure.
And a majority of the people that you treat, it's all life-saving stuff. So if you weren't there, or a doctor wasn't there, a surgeon wasn't there, that patient would die. And so every case, I used to talk to the colleagues I was working with, saying, you know, it's unusual that a doctor from the UK, that every case that he operates on is life and death. If you didn't do the operation, that patient would exsanguinate, would bleed to death. But they're not very easy operations either, because you're dealing with blood vessels, and you know, you have to be able to know how to dissect them, how to clamp them, how to then...
In what sort of conditions, let me ask?
Well, in conditions whereby you've got, in the hospital where I was working, we had 3 operating theatres, and you don't have much equipment, you have poor lighting, you have not much blood, you have poor you know, hardly any chest drains or bottles, and certainly the surgical instruments that we were using, you know, were pretty, you know,
basic,
basically.
David